Right now, somewhere out there, someone is sitting in a climate-controlled room, scrolling endlessly, feeling oddly overwhelmed, even though nothing is technically wrong. And they have no idea that the discomfort they're feeling has nothing to do with productivity, money, or motivation. It has everything to do with how far removed modern life is from the skills your brain was actually built for. Living simply in the wild isn't about pretending we can all drop everything and disappear into the forest. It's about understanding something deeper. Your nervous system, your instincts, and your sense of meaning evolved in a world that looked nothing like the one you're living in now. And when those systems don't get what they're designed for, they start misfiring in ways that show up as stress, anxiety, burnout, and that constant feeling that something is missing. Let's talk about the skills you forgot you needed. Not because they're trendy, not because they look good on camera, but because your brain still expects them to be there. Here's the thing no one really tells you. Your brain doesn't care about convenience. It cares about coherence. Clear cause and effect. Effort followed by reward. Action followed by tangible outcome. In the wild, life was brutally simple. You were cold, so you built shelter. You were hungry, so you found food. You were thirsty, so you searched for water. The feedback loop was immediate and real. Modern life completely breaks that loop. You work all day, but the result is abstract. Numbers on a screen, emails sent, tasks completed that don't visibly change your environment. And your brain, which evolved to track survival outcomes, doesn't know how to register that as meaningful progress. So it stays on edge, always scanning, always restless. This is where simple living in the wild teaches us something important. Let's start with fire. Fire isn't just warmth, it's regulation. When you build a fire yourself, something fascinating happens in your nervous system. The repetitive motion, the focus, the gradual buildup from spark to flame. It pulls you out of your head and into your body. Studies on primitive skills show that tasks involving rhythm, attention, and physical feedback activate the parasympathetic nervous system. That's the part of your brain responsible for calm and safety. In other words, fire teaches your brain, I can create security with my own hands. Contrast that with flipping a switch. Convenient, yes. Psychologically satisfying? Not even close. Now think about shelter. In the wild, shelter is not about aesthetics. It's about protection, wind direction, insulation, structural stability. When you build a shelter, even a simple one, you're solving a real problem in real time. Your brain lights up because it's doing exactly what it evolved to do: assess risk, plan, execute, and adapt. Modern environments remove that process entirely. You don't feel the wind through your walls. You don't adjust your living space based on weather. Everything is pre-solved for you. And while that sounds great, it comes with a cost. Your brain loses opportunities to practice competence. And competence is everything. Psychologists talk about something called learned helplessness, where people stop believing their actions matter because outcomes feel disconnected from effort. Primitive skills are the opposite. They rebuild the belief that what you do actually changes your reality. Now let's talk about food. In the wild, food is not entertainment. It's information. You read the environment. You notice patterns. You learn seasons. You understand scarcity and abundance. Hunting, foraging, even growing food forces patience and respect for time. You can't rush nature. And your brain knows this rhythm deeply. Modern food culture does something strange. It floods your senses while disconnecting you from effort. Calories arrive instantly, but satisfaction doesn't. So your brain keeps searching. More flavor, more stimulation, more novelty. And yet, it rarely feels truly nourished. When you grow a plant in the wild, or even just prepare food from scratch, you reintroduce meaning into eating. You remember that nourishment is a process, not a button you press. And then there's silence, real silence. In nature, silence isn't empty. It's full of information, wind, birds, movement. Your brain evolved to interpret those signals constantly. That's why artificial noise is so exhausting. It overwhelms systems that were meant to detect subtle changes. When you spend time living simply in the wild, your senses recalibrate. You start noticing things again. Temperature shifts, light changes, your own breathing. This is why people often describe feeling more alive outdoors. It's not poetic, it's neurological. Your attention finally has somewhere real to land. Here's where it all comes together. The skills you forgot you needed aren't about survival in the dramatic sense. They're about psychological stability. Fire teaches regulation. Shelter teaches competence. Food teaches patience. Silence teaches awareness. Simplicity teaches trust. Trust in yourself and in the process. And when those skills disappear from daily life, your brain compensates in unhealthy ways. Overthinking, overconsumption, constant distraction, artificial rewards. None of these are moral failures. They're adaptations to an environment that doesn't meet your brain's basic expectations. Living simply in the wild reminds you of something modern life quietly erases. You are capable. You are adaptable. You are not as fragile as you've been taught to believe. This doesn't mean abandoning modern life. It means integrating ancient truths. Doing things a slow way sometimes. Letting effort matter again. Allowing boredom to exist long enough for clarity to emerge. Because here's the real paradox. The more complex life becomes, the more your brain craves simplicity. Not minimalism for aesthetics. Not productivity hacks. But fundamental, grounded skills that anchor you to reality. Living simply in the wild isn't about going backwards. It's about remembering what you were built for. And once you reconnect with that, everything else, stress, focus, even happiness, starts to make a lot more sense.